सवैया दुत जिते इन्हीं के प्रसाद इन्हीं के प्रसाद सुदान करे अक अवगटार इन्हीं के प्रसाद इन्हीं की कृपा पुण्य धाम भरे इन्हीं के प्रसाद सो विद्यालय इन्हीं की कृपा सब संत मरे नहीं की कृपा के सजे हम हैं नहीं पोसो गरीब करोड़ मरे
Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. So, we begin another episode of the Sikh Renaissance, and this time in English. And now we're going to answer that all urgent burning question in Sikhi: what the hell is Naam? So, looking at this from the start, in 2018, we had the Damdami Tiksal Driawala blow up. And in that, there were two different definitions of Nam, which became prominent, which became promoted. And depending on who you spotted, you took one definition. You didn't look at the characteristics or the merit of the definition itself. You just sort of went along with groupthink. I spotted Driawala and his LGBTQ agenda. So Nam must mean divine virtues, and that secular enlightenment type scientific knowledge of the world, basically. Like here's the information, here's the knowledge. And under that definition, even Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein became Brahmagyanis. On the other hand, you had the Taxal's Sanatani definition continuing on from a long time, that all Nam is that you go into a dark room, a darkened room, sit down and start doing Waiguru, Waiguru, Waiguru. And from there, you start increasing the length of time you do it until it's all Man Sat Chitananda. You leave this illusionary world, you become a Mahapurk, and if Vaheguru needs you, he will send you back to get ready for Baba Jarnail Singh's round 2.0. If not, you just sit around and just meditate your life away. That's the end all of Sikhi, and that's all there is. Now, I remember a particular incident that when Gyani Thakur Singh previously visited Australia and New Zealand, this happened in Australia in 2011, he was discussing this in Melbourne, and there was a bit of a chitar prayer siapa going on. Like a pracharak comes from India and, he talks a lot of bullshit, and our people tolerate it? Hell no. So, this child down there was listening to Gyani Thakur Singh, and Gyani Thakur Singh the previous day had done a katha on Baba Bota Singh and Garja Singh, that Parsang. So this child on the second day gets up and asks that if the point of life in Sikhi is Nam Simran, nothing else is greater than Nam Simran, then by that logic, by the definition given by Gyani Thakur Singh, aren't Baba Bota Singh and Garja Singh burning in reincarnation or any other form of hell? Because really, they should have been doing Nam Simran and not fucking up the Mughals and Hindus on the Noor Deen Wali Sarai road, right? So Gyani Thakur Singh had no response to this. There was zero response to this. You know, how do you actually reconcile this contradiction between what you're saying is a spiritual practice that basically consists of rejecting this world, but at the same time also emphasizing the history of your panth, which consists of actually living and dominating in this world to make it perfect. So that's a real age old contradiction our Babes have not been able to resolve, and nor have any other Pracharaks, to be honest. I mean, you look at the neo missionary upgrade, Karminder Tilone Kita type, class of preachers going on. Ultimately, they go the same route as Dadriawala, which is basically start saying Nam is secular, scientific, enlightenment type of, analysis. And then you come back to this point where you're like, right, anyone can do that. What makes the Sikh identity so unique? Is the Sikh identity only unique because you're like just slagging off Brahmins all the time and the Brahmins don't want you to become scientists? That's why they're actually, forcing you to fuck around and do all this weird shit in, gurdwaras, temples, and in your room? So, what is the point of Sikhi? And this is where this ultimate dissolution of the Sikh identity begins, because you're dividing the Panth from the world it's supposed to dominate. I mean, if it's all about secular enlightenment and democratic values and everyone is equal, how does the concept of Khalsa Raj become justified in your eyes? Right? The necessity for Raj, for Khalsa Raj, is based on the fact that the Khalsa is more supreme and much better than anyone else. That's why the Khalsa deserves to rule. But if you're talking about this total equality of outcome, then how the fuck is the Khalsa Raj going to be achieved? Because then you don't really need the Khalsa, do you? Everyone can be better, right? So when it comes to the ultimate question of does everyone want to be better, that's where the shit show starts, because you can't afford the political incorrectness of saying, well, actually, no, because that will lead you back to that exclusive element of Sikh identity, the exclusivity of the Sikh identity. But that's the same exclusivity you have to reject because you're pushing for the secular type of society, right? On the other hand, if we are taking the Sanatani definition of Naam, or the, spiritually unclean practice of dhikr, which the Sufis do, which is basically the same, you stay still, you have a rosary in your hands, and you start reciting passages from the Quran, or, Allah, 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 whatever, and then, a suicide bombing happens somewhere far away. Well, here's another issue with that. Why would you try doing that if it's not related to this world? Right? And that's where their justification is, that their belief is otherworldly. Whatever you do here is going to net you some result, maybe 72 virgins in the next world to, chat and bang, or, maybe something else. In Hinduism, I mean, you come back as a cow and people worship you, basically. Or you get to an enlightenment stage where really you become a mini god yourself. So that's their consensus, their belief. In the Sikh spectrum, how do we reconcile our history, our forefathers doing all these qurbaniya, doing all these great sacrifices, suffering martyrdom, fighting for Khalsa Raj, with this image of, that the perfect Gursikh is someone who's sitting in a room and meditating 23 out of 24 hours away? How do you reconcile that? I mean, can anyone imagine someone like Baba Deep Singh Ji doing that, or Nawab Kapoor Singh Ji, Akali Pula Singh Ji, Baba Sahib Singh Bedi? Can anyone imagine that? Like Jassa Singh Ramgarhia, Jassa Singh Aluwalia? Can anyone imagine this stuff? And then what happens is, to sort of justify that, cantankerous route of, that falsity, those lies, then they have to make a bullshit. Like if you look at Baba Bir Singh Narangabad, what they're saying now is, oh, Baba Bir Singh Narangabad used to do 16-hour Simran every day. But Baba Bir Singh Narangabad, what the historical reality is, based on the manuscript evidence at least, is that he was a soldier in Maharaja Ranjit Singh's armies, right? And he fought the Afghans. He retired. He established a dera near Lahore, and that's where his reign of spirituality started. And what was his spirituality? Naam Japana, right? As Sikhi, Naam Japana. But what sort of Naam Japana in Sikhi? I mean, Baba Bir Singh was a Shastartari, right? After him, his successor, Bhai Maharaj Singh Ji, was a Shastartari, right? Una da naam japana ki si. What was their naam japana that made them so aggressive that they were able to fuck up the British? Like, how do you get that sort of naam japana, right? So obviously, if you look at the historical Sikh spiritual practice and the current Sikh spiritual practice, they are both worlds apart. There's a galaxy of difference between them. It's not a case of saying that we are reconciling two things. It's more or less a case of saying that we are trying to force these two concepts together to somehow justify our own weaknesses, right? So, in reality, what is Naam Japana in Sikhi, right? So, Naam is the Khalsa secret. Let's start from there. The Khalsa secret to its strength is Naam, right? Now, we have a lot of confusion over Naam, especially in the English academic world, because most of our authors, our intellectuals who wrote in the 20th century, brought in these concepts from the Calvinistic perspective that had no relation to Sikhi, confusing us further. So, for example, take Sardar Daljit Singh of the Institute of Sikh Studies, Chandigarh, right? In his Gurmukhi books and his English books, he calls Naam the noumenon, right? So there is the noumenon, which is basically a Roman concept of dividing the world. So there is the phenomenal world, the phenomenon, and then there's the noumenon, which is basically, it does not have a solid reality. So, according to Sardar Daljit Singh, Naam is the noumenon, something that doesn't have a solid physical reality that is running this world. Right. How do we get to Naam? Right? So, in a majority of his works, he doesn't really have the answer to that. So, whenever he's discussing Naam, exactly like Sardar Kapoor Singh, it is all about what they believe Naam consists of, but not how we can practice Naam. Right? So that vacuum in Sikh intellectualism, Sikh thought, was filled by a whole bunch of these babbe, like, fake deredars, who basically copied the Hindus and the Sufis in what they believed Nam to be. Right? So ultimately, there is a short passage in Sikhism, a study of its theology and mysticism. There's a book like that Daljit Singh wrote. I might have the last subtitle wrong, but in that, he interviewed Baba Vasakha Singhji, the Gadari Baba, who came from Stockton, California to fight against the British for Punjabi Khalsa Raj. And Baba Vasakha Singh basically highlighted to him. So, before we get into what he highlighted, Baba Vasakha Singh's history is quite intriguing to read. And in that history, you see what Nam Japna meant for those things. So, descended from eminent Sikh warriors, this is what Baba Vasakha Singh said Nam consisted of. Nam consisted of getting up every morning, battling with your inner self, because we are all animals, right? Manas Murti Nanak Naam Karni Kutta Dar Farman. Right? This is what Gurbani says. So we might look human, we have the human ideal, but the way we have been created, we are all animals at the end of the day. And it's the inner bestial self we have to always master. So we have to fight with ourselves. So Guru Nanak says in Japji Sahib, Man Jeete Jagjeet. So this mind, this bestial mind, has to be fought against every damn fucking day. So every time you get up in the morning, your battle begins with yourself. Point number one. Point number two, Baba Vasakha Singh elaborated, is that after battling yourself, now this isn't a battle that's going to be over once, right? It's a battle which has to be fought every day. After battling yourself, you go out and make the world a better place. So you better yourself and you better the world, not like the world. Now, this is imperative to note, not like the fucking world tells you to better itself. You better itself as the Guru tells you to better it. Right? Now, this is a this is actually one of those things that were pointed out in an article that was written by Pablo, right? One of our followers. So he's a white individual who converted to Sikhi. So he pointed this out in one of the Substack articles he wrote for us. And basically, what he said, and he elaborated this in the Khalsa Raj episode, is that if you look at the current definition of being good and making the world a better place, it has quite a lot of legalistic nuance. There's a lot of legal basis there. You can't touch that person. If someone tries fucking with you, you go to the police, etc., etc. You look at that, and if you take that as your perspective of history, then obviously Baba Banda Singh Bahadur killing Wazir Khan without any due process or trial, well, who becomes more guilty, Wazir Khan or Baba Banda Singh Bahadur? Obviously Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, right? Guru Gobind Singh Ji burning the Masands alive, or destroying the village of Alsu and turning out all the Muslim women, children, everyone out, like get the hell out of here, you guys are messing with the Sikhs, participating in the Sikh genocide, get the hell out of here, the Guru obviously becomes a criminal based on modern legal theories, right? And you look at Pai Sukha Jinda, they took out Vedya and Lalit Makkar. What's going to happen under the modern legal theory? Well, we know what the Indian state is saying. Hey, why the fuck didn't they come and use the legal system? Why didn't they focus on democracy? Like that Riyawala says, oh, the democracy, wali go. Yeah, obviously, why the fuck aren't you using democracy? But here's the thing, what happens when democracy turns against you? Then even that Riyawala and company don't have any answer to that, right? So those modern legalistic perspectives, if we are arguing that they make the world a better place, then we are doing a massive disservice to Sikhi. And this is ultimately the problem with Gurminder Tillo and Harjinder Dilgir and the, neo upgrade missionary school of thought, is that divine virtues and hukam have to be defined through a modernistic perspective, right? They are defining all this for self-validation, a perspective that has Sikhs seeking validation from non-Sikhs. But we need to look at what the Guru is saying, right? How the Guru is saying we make the world a better place. And that perspective is always going to be at conflict with the rest of the world. It's a given, right? It's definitely a given. And this is exactly what Gurbani underlines to us, right? This is exactly the perspective Gurbani underlines to us all the time, that we're going to be in conflict with the world. So, Jera Nam Japada, right? Those who do Nam, right? Who practice Nam, which is basically what Gurbani tells us. We need to practice Nam. Those who focus on doing Nam, those who focus on living Nam, right? At the end of the day, the world is going to be against them, right? It's definitely going to come after them. So, what can you do? The Sikh Naam isn't the Naam of the world. It's different. It's very different, right? So, this is what Baba Vasaka Singh elaborates in that interview, that the Sikh definition of Naam is different, and this is why. Naam Japadaya, by living Naam, because this term Jap means to live. Naam Japadaya, Asi America to aaye, right? By living Naam, through living Naam, I came from the States back to Punjab to fight for my Qaum and Panth, to fight for the restoration of Khalsa Raj, to make the world a better place. I made the world a fucking better place by coming back and fighting for Raj. Now, a lot of people will say that this fighting part in making the world a better place is basically useless, that pacifism will win out. But the reality is something different. So, straight away, you can see there's a conflict between what the Guru is saying about making the world a better place and what the world expects us to do if we are talking about making the world a better place. Right? And the third one is that we serve the Panth. Panth nu badaiye. We increase the Panth. Right? We fight for Sikh sovereignty. We fight for the upliftment and the promotion of Sikh ideals and Sikh virtues. So, in essence, if you take these three together, Naam isn't Jap, not the definition of Jap we have today. Mara padke Vaheguru Vaheguru kari jo. We just grab a rosary and start saying Vaheguru Vaheguru Vaheguru. No, hell no. That isn't Naam. That's definitely not Naam. Right? Yeah, meditation works, but it doesn't work for Naam. So, if it doesn't work for Naam, then what is it? It's not a part of Naam. That's something we have to agree with. Naam is bettering yourself. This is what all the great warriors, all the great heroes have told us, from Miyamoto Musashi to Takuan Soho to Alexander the Great. All the great men in history have been telling us this one thing over and over and over again. All religions are false. But for us, Sikhi is the truth. So all the religions of their times were false. In reality, the only true religion is to better yourself and then better the world. And this is exactly what Sikhi says. So all the rough, tough men, all the demon warriors, right? They identified and acknowledged this truth of reality, that all this, all these deeds we are doing for heavenly real estate by following one of the false religions, no, that's not fucking religion in the first place. That's not righteousness. True righteousness, true dharam, is in killing your base self every day, because it will come back. It will definitely come back. It will fucking resurrect over and over and fucking over again. Right? You have to control it every day. And to control it every day, you need to be strong, mentally and spiritually and physically. Right? Naam also has a physical aspect. You need to strengthen yourself, control yourself every day, and then you can make this world a better place, either through the Shastra or through any other video. But this whole process makes you live on your own terms. Right? Kabir, प्रीत एक स्यो कई आन दुबिधा जाए भावे लंबे केस करो भावे घरड़ मुड़ाए. Right? So the common definition of the Shabad is, hey Kabir, when you adhere single-mindedly to oneness, then all your doubts flee, and it doesn't matter if you have long hair or bald hair. And then we have the neo missionary upgrade school saying, holy crap, Guru Gobind Singh Ji giving Panch Kakars, case as identity. Oh my god, it must be a Brahmin conspiracy, right? All that fuckwittism of, if they can't do it themselves, here, just blame the Brahmin and get the hell out of there. But if you look at the Gurbani grammar and the context of this verse, then this is the real translation. Kabir, when you adhere single mindedly to oneness, then all your doubts flee, irrespective of whatever pleases the world, unshorn hair or baldness. Now, this is on Angad 1365 of Guru Granth Sahib. It's a part of 40 sloks of Bhakt Kabir that talk about worldly hypocrisy. And what Bhakt Kabir here is saying, that when you dedicate yourself to the oneness of Vaheguru Akal Purakh, right? Your Akal Purakh's path. When you start walking on it, right? When you dedicate yourself to it, as Guru Nanak says, Joto prem khalan ka chao sartar tali gali muriyo, it marg per dri jaise dije kaar na kiji, right? Once you step on that way, don't look back, right? Once you step on the way, Bhakt Kabir is saying, right? All your doubts are going to flee. And it doesn't matter what pleases the world. The world might say, hey, we like people with bald hair and you have lambe case. Doesn't matter. You don't care about the world. Or the world might be going to some baba with long hair and it doesn't matter. You're not concerned about the world's perspective or the world's perception. Let the world fuck around. You're just concerned about yourself and what your guru says. Right? So that is the meaning of that verse, that Shabad. And you move on from there, right? You move on from there. So there is an ancient Granth, the Vijay Mukht Dharm Shastra Granth, written by the Singhpuriya missile, so Nawab Kapoor Singh's missile. So the older Singhs who had met Guru Gobind Singh Ji at the time, they actually dictated this Granth. And there's a very interesting Sakhi in this Granth, right? Our people dismiss Sakhis because obviously some Sakhis have been interpolated and inserted, but that doesn't mean we throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because then we will be like these other idiots who say, oh, we don't like the term Vaheguru. There is a Vad of Pai Gurdas that has obviously been inserted in that gives the wrong definition of Vaheguru. You know what? Vaheguru is a Brahmin conspiracy. The Brahmins inserted it into the Guru Granth Sahib. Let's throw the baby out with the bathwater. We are focused on interpolations, but hey, let's just say that the Guru Granth Sahib has also been tampered with. It's like Harjinder Singh Dilgir saying that Meherban made up this date of Guru Nanak's birth being Vaisakh, right? Because he was a Hindu agent, and that the Sikhs accepted it. So Meherban was around the time of Guru Arjan, so that means Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, Guru Harai Ji, Guru Har Krishan Sahib Ji, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and Guru Gobind Singh Ji, none of them cared to change this date back to its original date, right? It's just ludicrous bullshit stories these guys come up with. So when we focus on the Sakhi from the Vijay Mukht Dharm Shastra Granth, so the Sikhs of Punjab and then outside Punjab get together and go to Anandpur Sahib. Guru Gobind Singh Ji is sitting in his darbar, Shastar Tari. They come up to him and say, Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh, Guru Maharaj, and bow down to him. Guru Maharaj says, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh, Hanji Daso Ji, tell me. I know you have come with questions and doubts. And they say that Guru Maharaj Ji, you say that Naam Japna is reading and living Gurbani. And Guru Maharaj says, definitely. So they say, Guru Maharaj Ji, ਅਸੀਂ ਘੁੰਮਦੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਘੁੰਮ ਫਿਰ ਕੇ ਕਮਾਈ ਦੀ ਹੈ, right? We are always on the move. This is how we earn our living. So Guru Maharaj Ji, how can we always have Guru Granth Sahib with us to read, right? We only see the Guru Granth Sahib now and then. So how do we read the Pothisa? What do we do? And then Guru Gobind Singh Ji tells them that the essence of Naam Japana is to remember three things. One, you're eventually going to die. Two, that you're walking on the Guru's path. And three, walking on the Guru's path means that you unlock your inner divinity. And the best way to do this is to remember that in everything you do and everyone you meet, the Guru is with you. How would you live if the Guru was always looking over your shoulders? Right? So, what does Naam Japana mean then? We have to remember what we are doing. We have to remember the Guru in everything. So, in that case, by Sikho, it is emphasized by me that whenever you get the opportunity, you sit down and you read the Guru Granth Sahib and you do vichar on the Shabad Guru. So obviously we can say, yeah, let's go to the Gurdwara, have a vichar, but that's not the vichar the Guru wants. Vichar should lead to Girtar. Vichar, the discussion should lead to the character. The discussion shouldn't be only, hey, what does this verse mean? What's the historical context? Why did the Guru write it? No, it should lead to something else, which is, how can I live this verse in my daily life? Right? And to that end, your lifestyle of moving around, that can also be resolved. Either you remember a tuk from Gurbani, you know, Peli Pori of Japji Sahib, or any verse which you like and you find easy to remember, and just keep saying it in your mouth. Or either you can choose Vaheguru and just keep going Vaheguru, Vaheguru. It's not about making others listen to it or, just focusing on the word alone. This chanting is not going to get you anything. ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਜੀਬੋ ਲੱਖ ਹੋਏ ਲੱਖ ਹੋਵੇ ਲੱਖ ਵੇਸ ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਗੇੜਾ ਆਖੀ ਇੱਕ ਨਾਮ ਜਗਦੀਸ਼. Like Guru Nanak says, chanting is of no use. But Gurdas in his Kabita Savaya says, you can keep saying sugar, 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 but you're not going to get sugar on your tongue manifesting, are you? The reality is, Guru Gobind Singh Ji elaborates to them, that by Sikho, at the end of the day, if you're saying Waheguru subliminally in your mind, in your head, or you're reciting a verse, it's going to come to a point where you're going to remember the Guru in everything, and then you will always try living a perfect life. This is Nam Japana, right? If we look at the ancient Roman practice, Cato the Younger used to get up every morning and say, I'm going to die today, welcome death. It used to set him up for the whole day. He used to remember the reality of the fact, I'm going to die one day. Let's not get into useless debates or unusual shit shows. I'm going to die one day. I have a short time on earth. I want to do something. I want to leave my legacy. Similarly, we get up at Amrita Bella. We read our litanies of Gurbani, Japji Sahib, Jap Sahib, Tav Prasad Savaiye, Chopai Sahib, Ananda Sahib. Many of us also do the Kirtan Swela in the morning as well, because you never know what the day is going to bring. And after that, we want to be in the divine presence. And to be in the divine presence, you can keep saying Vaiguru, Vaiguru in your mind, or whenever you remember, just come back to Gurbani. Right? The inner beast should not be given the fucking opportunity to get out and run your life. You need to compress that bastard down and only let it out when you really need to unleash your savagery on the world. Otherwise, you want it in confinement. And to be able to do that, to look at the bigger perspective, you need to be remembering the fact you're the Guru's Sikh. This is Naam. Right? I fuck up at work. I get angry. Sure, but then I remember Gurbani. I say to myself, hey, I'm saying Vaheguru in my mind, and that's connecting me to Gurbani, that's connecting me to my Sadat, that's connecting me to my Rehet. Is it good to get angry over this? No. I'm not wasting myself or getting into a situation that can become much worse. I'm fighting against myself. This is Naam. Naam is a practice to be lived, and Jap means to live it constantly. Right? We have taken these simple definitions, and this is exactly the problem we have with Gyani Sher Singh and other of the Nyang Sampradaya types who are outsourcing our concepts to other religions and bringing their rubbish, their false rubbish back into Sikhi. Right? And that's where the problem is. That the concepts we have in Sikhi are very different. Our Jap is to live, our Naam is to live, to practice. Their Naam is to just stay in a fucking chamber of secrets and keep going Ram, 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 and whatever other bullshit they come up with. Their Jap is just a few words. And does it work? It doesn't. If you look at Sikh history, look at what our Khalsa Naam, the Naam of Guru Granth Sahib, produced. Right? Look at these warriors, Baba Jeet Singh Ji, Baba Jajar Singh Ji, Baba Zorawar Singh Ji, Baba Fateh Singh Ji, Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, Baba Deep Singh, Bhai Mani Singh, Nawab Kapoor Singh, Jathedar Jassa Singh Aluwalia, Jathedar Jassa Singh Ramgarhia, Jathedar Gulab Singh Dallewalia, right? Jathedar Beer Singh Rangreta, Jathedar Jeevan Singh Shaheed, Jathedar Karam Singh Shaheed, Jathedar Baba Baghel Singh Karora Singhia, Jathedar Charat Singh Sukkar Chakia, Jathedar Sham Singh Nihang, right? Look at that Naam. Jathedar Akali Baba Pula Singh Ji, Jathedar Baba Ram Singh Ji Bedi, Jathedar Baba Dharam Singh Ji Bedi, Jathedar Baba Bishan Singh Ji Sodi. Look at these names. Look at these warriors. Jathedar Bhai Jay Singh Ji, Shaheed Bhai Mehtab Singh Ji, Shaheed Bhai Sukha Singh Ji, Shaheed Bhai Taru Singh Ji. Right? Look at the Naam. Look at what their Naam produced. Right? They went and destroyed themselves, they destroyed their bestial minds, and came back as refined Gursikhs, ready to die. Right? And this is the reality. This is the reality the Guru is guiding us towards. Dekhe sune na jane, maya moe and jiyo, kachi dehi ਵਿਸਣੀ ਕੂੜ ਕਮਾਵੇ ਧੰਦ ਜਿਉ ਨਾਮ ਧਿਆਵੇ ਸੇ ਜਿਨ ਚਲੇ ਗੁਰਪੂੜੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਜਿਉ ਹੁਕਮੇ ਜੋਗ ਮੋਹ ਆਏ ਚੱਲਣ ਹੁਕਮੇ ਸੰਜੋਗ ਜਿਉ right Ang 760 of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Many fail to observe and understand the truth. Why? Because they're so bewitched, so lost in this illusory existence. And why is this illusory? What is the truth they're ignoring? That this perishable physicality, our body, will eventually succumb to destruction. We're going to die, it's a given. But the fools continue heaping filth upon filth. They don't give a fuck about the death that's coming. So what do? They forget their death and start indulging in hedonism, right? But only those who live the Naam and are the disciples of the perfect enlightener, the perfect Guru, which is the Guru Granth Sahib, they depart from this world victorious. So what they do using Naam, they perfect themselves and then they perfect the world around them. And so when they die, Jini naam te aaya gai masakad kaal nanak te mukhe ujle keti chutti naal. They've run the gauntlet of life. And Sikhi life is a battle. It's supposed to be hard, but they win over life. They win the battle of life, and then they die. And when they die, irrespective of how they die victoriously. Right? We arrive into this world through the divine reality. It's hukam. Hukam is our divine reality. We arrive into this world through the divine reality. We depart through the same divine reality. All this transpires through the divine will. You can't change hukam, right? You can't fuck around and say, hey, I want to change hukam, I want to jump off a building and fly. It's just not fucking possible, right? I want to fly without any equipment. Yeah, it's not possible, buddy. You're going to fucking die. And that's the thing. So the Gurmukh knows this. That's why they're battling among themselves. That's why they're battling within themselves, right? And then what the Shabad shows, that Naam is practicality, right? Naam has to be lived practically. And our Virsa, our heritage, it revolves around Gurbani and Vaheguru. So when, guys like Satpal Singh of Nanak Naam to get their cheap 5 minutes of fame go, oh, we can do Krishna, we can do this, we can do that, or, Veer Papinder Singh of the Living Treasure Trust, yeah, that's just fucked. It's bullshit. Asi jude Vaheguru naal, right? We are connected to Akal Purakh. Why should we use the spiritually unclean terms of the false faiths, right? It's Sikhi we want to be remembering, nothing else. So what should Naam lead to, right? This is something we need to ask ourselves. What should Naam lead to? Ho na moa meri moy balai, o na moya jo hai asmai, kaho nanak gre brahm dikhaya, Marta jata nadar na aaya. Right? Ang 152 of the Guru Granth Sahib. I don't die. That's what Guru Nanak is saying. I don't die. But my wickedness can die. So the all-pervasive one who is unperishable, right? Akal Purakh. Guru Nanak says that the divine wisdom, right? So there is information, there is knowledge, and then there is wisdom, which is practicality lived by the information and the knowledge. That divine wisdom, right? So Akal Purakh revealed the Shabad to me, the Shabad which I'm giving to you, the knowledge, right? And through that knowledge, when I started living that knowledge, it became the divine wisdom. Through that divine wisdom, it has been revealed to me that this infinite being who's within me, it neither goes nor comes, right? So what is this divine being within, right? And that Guru Nanak explains is the divine source in all of us, the divine capability, right? It doesn't go or it doesn't come. It's not born, it doesn't die. It's just within us, right? So there's no need to be scared of death. We're not really dying if we attach ourselves, if we make that inner divine being our identity, right? We're not going to die. That's the thing. right? So here's the thing: there was a certain concept in ancient Rome, like it might help our Sikhs understand today what this means, right? So it was called Newman, this concept. And Newman doesn't mean, the creator himself. It means the divine power or quality within us. And that divine power and quality is what Guru Nanak is referring to. Once we discern that there is the divine quality, the divine power within us, that we are unstoppable, right? We can tap into it, and then our identity becomes exactly like that. So it's almost like Akal Purakh Vaheguru living in this world, and we start living like how he would live, right? That's the metaphor for it. And this is what Bhai Mani Singh elaborated before Ashidi. So those who have heard the previous episode, Kard da Najara in Punjabi, this is exactly the discourse Bhai Mani Singh ji gave to the Sahajatari Sikhs who used to live in hiding in Lahore, that when he dies, right? How could Bhai Mani Singh actually die? His physical body was not his true identity, right? His true identity came from the divine virtues that he had cultivated by revealing his Numen. His physical appearance was that of a Khalsa, but the sense of self attached to this Khalsa came from within him. It was attached to his surt, his consciousness. That he had immersed his conscious self in its divine source through Nam meant that his virtues would persist even after his consciousness left his mortal body. After enduring a brief moment of pain, his Newman would still remain existing, and because Bhai Mani Singh through Nam had attached himself to that divine capability within him, Bhai Mani Singh would remain alive. Only the body would go, but the essence would remain. His consciousness, when immersed in its divine source, made him eternal. His physical body would return to the dust it was formed from. That's eventually going to happen to all of us. But by overcoming his lower self through practicing Nam, he had revealed the divinity within him. And because he had avoided spiritual death, he had nothing else to fear. He was now one with his Maker. The world, he concluded, might perceive him as Mani Singh based on his physical existence, but he himself had become the object of his emulation. Akal. Gurmat's knife of discernment, of Bibek, had severed his attachment with his body. He no longer feared death and valued death over dishonor. And that's what happens through Nam. So Nam is fighting with yourself to make yourself perfect. It's easy as that. There's no overcomplication here. But for some reason, we Sikhs, our theologians, our philosophers love to make this concept really complicated. And that's why Sikhi, which is the religion of the common man, the working man. So the guy the Sikh, the Sangha today, Jo Ajda Sangha, who's doing the 9 to 5 job, he comes back home tired and he's like, how the fuck can I practice Nam? But the reality is, buddy, they're misleading you on what Nam is in the first place. Hathi peri kam kariye, Rab nu yaad rakhiye. Right? That's what Bhakt Namdev is saying. I work with my hands and feet. I focus on what I'm doing, but a part of my mind remains immersed with Akal. So when that challenge comes to me in life to maybe do something that is unethical, that is bad, that is imperfect, that runs contrary to what Akal wants, I don't do it. Right? Jog jugti sun ayo gurte, moko satgur shabad bujai rahao. नौखंड पृथ्वी इस तन में रविया निमक निमक नमस्कार दिखाया गुड़ की मुंदरी कन्नी दृढ़ो एक निरंकारा पांच चेले मिल भये एकत्रे एकस को वस गई 10 बिरागण आज्ञाकारी तब निर्मल जोग थाई भरम जराई चढ़ाई विभूता पंथो एक कर दिखाई. What this means, this Shabad of Guru Arjan, it's on Ang 208 of Guru Granth Sahib. I approached the Guru, who is Guru Nanak. I approached Guru Nanak to learn the secrets of true spiritual conduct. I saw the whole world talking about spirituality. I saw the whole world talking about Nam. I saw the whole world talking about perfection. But no one was able to resolve my doubts. None of those practices gave me any benefit. So I approached the Guru, Guru Nanak, to learn the secrets of true spiritual conduct. The true Guru, the divine truth of Akal Purakh, personified as Guru Nanak, engaged me with the Shabad, the divine injunctions of his words. The creator who permeates all the nine realms of this universe is the same creator whose divine capability is within me, and I humbly bow down to this creator. The Guru's injunctions are now my earrings, and I've revealed the divine creator within myself. I have assembled the five disciples and placed them under my sole command. And when I made the 10 ascetics obey my commands, then I truly became the unblemished spiritualist. I have reduced my doubts to ashes and have smeared them on my body, discerning this to be the only path to true liberation. So, what does this mean? So, this Shabad is in Rag Gauri, and obviously the term jog is misinterpreted to mean yog, but even though Rag Gauri is a rag attached with romance, over here the romance is between a warrior and his death. So, taking the stereotype of yogis, our people, our translators claim that this is a metaphorical yogi, basically, a ascetic, a renunciate. But in reality, when we consider the term jog in its historic context, this picture is not of a yogi, but of a warrior, a jogi, someone who commits action. So there is a dynamic aspect of Indian history where even before the gurus, warriors who saw their families die, or when they knew that the final moment had come, their last stand, they would burn their families alive, then take the ashes, smear them on their body, and go out for their last stand. Right? And these warriors were known to have mastered themselves. They had self-mastered their attachment, their ego, their emotions, that they were able to set their own wife and children alight rather than let them get sold into Islamic sex slavery or whatever. So this is the picture that's being drawn here. And obviously these warriors had earrings. And these earrings would have inscriptions of whoever was their leader. So here what Guru Arjan is saying in a metaphorical way is that in the same way, the doubts I had, they used to stay with me like a family. I burnt them. I put their ashes on my body. And then, what happened is that when I did this, I showed the world that in my ears are the metaphorical, the figurative earrings of the Guru's teachings. My loyalty is to the Guru. The Guru is my leader, right? And now, seeing that this is the true path to liberation, Sikhi, I've gone out to fight my final battle against life. It is a one off battle. Even though we fight it every day, it is a one off battle, this battle of life. So, the difference between us and the past Sikhs is that we rarely desire to put Gurbani into action by living it. So, the five disciples, mentioned in the Shabad are the five human senses. By accepting the truth of Guru Nanak's teachings, right, in the Guru Granth Sahib, the Khalsa, because the Khalsa is the Gursikh, the Gurmukh, the Khalsa works to pacify his mind and then uses it to subdue these five senses, right? He then conquers the 10 organs: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, flesh, hands, feet, mouth, genitals, anus. And in this way, he controls his sensuous desires. He masters his own body. This is done by daily living Nam, right? And accepting the frailty of human existence and living for a higher purpose. And it is this sort of endurance that Bhai Mani Singh had developed. He was a master of his own body. When it came to pain, the the Singhs of Vaheguru, the Khalsa of Vaheguru is a demon warrior. It has to master its body. So, physical cultivation of the body, right? Dehinu Palna, that is one of the foremost aspects of Nam. So, for the beginning of Nam, to begin Nam Japana, to live Nam constantly, we need to master our own body. right? And that's why Singhs in the past and even today there are Gursikhs who fight in the ring or learn Shastra Vidya just to master it. And then we need to accept the frailty of our existence. Yeah, we're going to die one day, you know. It's really easy if we wake up every morning and when we read the Kirtan Swela, we reflect on our death. We're, and this is exactly what Pai Mani Singh said. Yeah, I'm going to die one day. I might as well go out with a bang, you know. Leave a good legacy for the world. Why? Because I live for a higher purpose. And what is that higher purpose? The spread of the Guru's Panth. Right? And this is the aspect of Sikhi which Naam should lead to. It should make us into warriors and not fucking useless fed ass sads eating prates and farting out the worst smells in the world. The true Naam makes us into demon warriors, right? Shaitani jode sanu banaunda. It makes us into warriors. You know, a warrior doesn't necessarily need to be waving a sword around, but bloody hell, Pai Mani Singh knew how to use one and he used it to a deadly effect as well. Right? You look at Pai Taru Singh, right, getting scalped. How much control did he have over his own body that he didn't scream out in pain? And Gurbani is telling us, right, this is the same Gurbani that Pai Taru Singh ji followed that we follow, right? That we can get there, right? Through Naam. Naam is the Khalsa secret. Naam is the Khalsa strength. We can get there through Naam. And our Rehat Maryada is made to instill this Naam into us. All it is we remember the Guru. We remember three things: the frailty of our human existence, the necessity of controlling ourselves as Gurmat enjoins, in Naam di Zanjir Banke by tying this chain of Naam, and that we live for a higher purpose. Yeah, we are going to die. And that's what it is. Jini Naam Te Aya. Those who have lived Naam, Gai Masakat Kal, they have run the gauntlet of life, right? They have won over all of life's hardships. Gai Masakat Kal, Nanak Te Mukhe Ujali. Nanak, their faces are bright. Why? Nanak Te Mukhe Ujali Keti Chuti Nal, because they inspire thousands after them to live the same way and liberate themselves. Life isn't a walk in the park. Even the richest man in the world is going to fucking face death of his loved ones one day, right? No amount of money or peace can ever save anyone from death. And that's the reality down here. We're all going to die and we might as well accept it. It's not something we can escape against. It is what it is. Otherwise, we become retarded like the Christians and their false religion of, hey, one day we're going to be back, but they're never going to be fucking back. Never. And that's exactly the sad reality that we're confronting here, is that our people are more than happy to fall for myths, but they aren't able to face Hukam head on. They aren't able to confront reality head on. And now, when we talk about Naam, yeah, it doesn't make you into a weak sad, right? It makes you into a warrior. राज करेगा खालसा आकी रहे न कोई ख्वार होए सब मिलेगे बचे शरण jo hoye. By Nandalal ji tells us this in the Taraknama, and this is verbatim from Guru Gobind Singh ji. The Khalsa shall reign supreme, no resistor will survive, the dishonored will unite, and only those who submit to it will remain, all others will be finished off. That's the Khalsa, right? प्रभ को सिमरे सो तनवंत प्रभ को सिमरे सो पतवंत प्रभ को सिमरे सो जन परवान प्रभ को सिमरे सो पुरख प्रधान प्रभ को सिमरे से बेहमताजे प्रभ को सिमरे से सर्ब के राजे. Those who enshrine their master through Naam within their hearts are truly wealthy. Those who enshrine their master are truly honorable. Those who enshrine their master are truly acceptable. Those who enshrine their master are truly the foremost among all. Those who enshrine their master are truly autonomous. Those who enshrine their master are the monarchs of all. Right? So look at the royal metaphors, the figurative language invoking royalty used in this Shabad. Anga 263 of Guru Granth Sahib Ji that we read in the Sukhmani Sahib every day. Right? हर भगता का आसरा आन नहीं थाओ धन दिबान परवार धन ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤੇਰਾ ਨਾਉ, ਪਰਵਾਨ ਧਨ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤੇਰਾ ਨਾਉ, ਕਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਾਸ ਰਖ ਲਈ, ਨਿੰਦਕ ਨਿੰਦਾ ਕਰ ਪਛੇ ਜਮ ਘਾਲ ਗਿਸਈ ਰਹਾਉ, ਸੰਤਾ ਏਕ ਧਿਆਵਣਾ ਦੂਸਰ ਕੋ ਨਾਹੀ, ਏਕਸ ਆਗੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਰਵਿਆ ਸਰਬ ਥਾਈ, ਕਥਾ ਪੁਰਾਤਨ ਇੱਕ ਕਥਾ ਪੁਰਾਤਨ ਇਹੋ ਸੁਣੀ ਭਗਤਨ ਕੀ ਬਾਣੀ, ਸਗਲ ਦੁਸ਼ਟ ਖੰਡ ਖੰਡ ਕਈ ਜਨ ਲਈ ਮਾਣੀ, ਸਤ ਬਚਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਕਹੇ ਪ੍ਰਗਟ ਸਭ ਮਾਹੀ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੇ ਸੇਵਕ ਸਰਣ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤਿਨ ਕੋ ਭਉ ਨਾਹੀ। The Creator is the sport of all the loyalists, all the Bhagats, jinne Bhagat are, all the Khalsa. They're loyal to Vaheguru Akal Purakh, and Vaheguru Akal Purakh sports them. He blesses his slaves. The Master keeps them in his presence. The traitors continue betraying and slandering until death finally overtakes them. But the seekers of the divine truth, of Naam, Jare Naam Jeende ya, Jare Gurmat Jeende ya, only ever bow to their Maker and none other. They only ever entreat the one who is all present everywhere. I have heard the same ancient discourse from the teachings of all your loyalists. All foes have been shredded to bits, for which your loyalists are resultantly honored. Guru Nanak utters only these words of truth that are obvious to the enlightened ones around him. The servants of Akal Purakh are forever in Akal Purakh's presence, and Akal Purakh never allows fear to touch them. Guru Granth Sahib, Ang 815, doesn't mean that there's going to be a miracle and Akal Purakh is going to spring us from jail. But yes, on his way, Jare Naam Japade Paya, when any danger faces them, when their liberty is at stake, when they decide that they're going to make the world a better place, on that route, Os Margte, they go and kill their enemies. This is Guru Arjan writing it. Right? They go kill their enemies, and then whatever the consequence, they're ready to suffer that because Akal Purakh doesn't let any fear hit them. ਤਾਂ ਜੇ ਹੁਣ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਦੇਖੀਏ, right, let's look at the past 40-50 years. ਭਾਈ ਸੁੱਖਾ ਜਿੰਦਾ, right? ਭਾਈ ਸੁੱਖਾ ਜਿੰਦਾ, ਭਾਈ ਸਤਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਬੇਅੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, right? ਭਾਈ ਅਨੋਖ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਬੱਬਰ, ਸੰਤ ਬਾਬਾ ਜਰਨੈਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਭਿੰਡਰਾਵਾਲਾ, right? Look at them. Look at the Jivan. Sure, it's a part of history that people and leaders make mistakes, sure. But look at the way their whole life, especially Sukha and Jinda, look at how many people they avenged, they got justice for by killing the Hindus and Muslims, the spiritually unclean Sanatanis and the Muslims who killed Sikhs all over India. And then when they got arrested, right? When they got arrested, Katha Puratan Eho Suni Bhagtan Ki Bani, Sagal Dusht Khand Khand Kai Jan Lai Mani, right? They killed the enemy, right? And when they went to jail, when they were killed, no fear ever touched them. Why? Because this is the reciprocal relationship between Akal Purakh and those who live as Naam. The Naam of Gurmat is to make us into warriors. It's to make us into warriors. It's for nothing else. Right? It should make us into warriors. This is the reality. And why do we need Naam? Because the Gurmukh is the only one who can save the world. This is the reality. Nanak home rog bura. Ja dekhe ta eko badan ape baksh shabad tare rahao. Ape parkhe parkhan hare bhor sulok na hoye. Jinko nadar pai girmele prabh pani sach soye. ਪੌਣ ਪਾਣੀ ਬੇਸੰਤ ਰੋਗੀ, ਰੋਗੀ ਧਰਤ ਸੁਭਾਗੀ, ਮਾਤ ਪਿਤਾ ਮਾਇਆ ਦੇਹੀ, ਸੇ ਰੋਗੀ, ਰੋਗੀ ਕਤੰਬ ਸੰਜੋਗੀ। ਰੋਗੀ ਬ੍ਰਹਮਾ ਬਿਸਨ ਮੁਰਾਦਰ, ਰੋਗੀ ਸਗਲ ਸੰਸਾਰਾ, ਹਰ ਪਦ ਚਿੰਨ ਭਏ ਸੇ ਮੁਕਤੇ, ਗੁਰ ਕਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵਿਚਾਰਾ। ਰੋਗੀ ਸਤ ਸਮੁੰਦ ਸੰਧਿਆ ਖੰਡ पताल से रोगी भारे, हर के लोक से सच सुहेले, सरबी थाए नदर कारे। रोगी खट दर्शन पिखधारी, नाना हथी अनेका बेद कतेब करे कह बोपरे नहो बुझे एक एका मिठ रस पाए सो रोगी भरजे कंड मुल सुख नाही नाम विसारे चले अनमार्ग अंत काल पछताही तीरथ भरमे रोगी ना छोटस पिराए बद विबाद भाइये डुबदा रोग सो अधिक वडेरा माया के मोहताज भाए गुरमुख सच्चा शब्द सलाहे मन सच्चा तिस रोग गवाए नानक हरजन अंदिन निर्मल जन को करम निशान पुआए Nanak, arrogance and hubris is an insidious affliction indeed. Look around, and you will see the same torturous agony all around. Only you, Vaheguru, can bless us with the cure of the Shabad when we live as the Guru Granth Sahib wants us to live. You, Vaheguru, assess us mortals for our worth, and there are no other tests. Those who your nadar falls upon, they meet with and receive the Naam. This is the true hukam of you, Vaheguru, in action. Air, water, and fire are afflicted. This entire world, with all its illusory pleasures, is afflicted. The mother and the father are afflicted. This temporary body is afflicted. The household is afflicted. Those who we meet are afflicted. Brahma, the creator archetype, Vishnu, the preserving archetype, and Shiva, the destructive archetype, all of them are afflicted. This whole existence is afflicted. Enshrining Vaheguru's feet within our minds by living the Shabad, that's the only way to escape this affliction. The seven seas, the rivers, the continents, the underworlds, all of these are afflicted. Vaheguru's followers, his Sikhs, meanwhile, remain immersed in the truth and distinguish themselves by resultantly earning his nadar everywhere. The six Sanatani Vedic Hindu Shastra and the systems they propose are afflicted. The garbs of all other faiths, their multiple superstitions, and their multiple followers are afflicted. What can the Vedas, what can the Hindu scriptures and the Abrahamic scriptures do, you poor idiot, when they fail to comprehend the one and only sustainer? Pursuing illusory pleasures and worsening their symptoms, the fools fail to realize their own divine worth. Discarding the Naam, right, the path of personifying Gurmat, the idiots follow all other fake faiths and then mourn regretfully at the end. Wandering from one pilgrimage site to another, the mortal is not cured of his affliction, nor by reading scriptures. Doubt is an inimical affliction, and it ensnares one in illusion. The Gurmukh lives the true Shabad and cures themselves of all their afflictions. Nanak, Vaheguru Sikhs purify themselves every day, and through their actions, they earn the right to wear his divine insignia. So this is Guru Granth Sahib, Ang 1153. And this is what Gyani Dutt Singh said in one of the 1900 editions of his Khalsa Akhbar. All non-Sikhs, irrespective of their faiths, whether it be Hindu or Muslim, are all mistaken in their beliefs. They can be said to be on ships, doomed to be swept away from the true path to God. Ours is the ship of Vaheguru's Naam, and the one aboard it will be safely ferried across. It is open to all, irrespective of their birth, as Hindu, Muslim, or Christian, but as long as they become Sikh, for Sikhism is open to all. Whosoever becomes Sikh by taking Khande ki Pahal is purified. And this is Naam. Naam does not make you into a pacifist. Naam does not make you into a useless, pathetic sad. Naam makes you into a surma, a demon warrior, a warrior saint. And what is Naam? From the Gurmat perspective, there are three simple exercises we can do to live Naam every day. We remember our own deaths, we live for a higher purpose in accordance with Gurmat, and we remember the Guru in everything we do. And if it means that we subtly say Vaheguru in our minds, subliminally, or recite a Gurbani passage, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. There have been instances of Sikhs writing their own kabiths to remember Vaheguru. And one of the most famous ones was that of Jassa Singh Ramgarhia. He wrote a whole kabith, a whole poetry to remember Akal Purkh Bhai. And it is quite an interesting kabith. Kabu kabu baaj hath, baaj te nagare sath, kabu te pae pyade, boj sees sahai. Kabu kabu meve आओ, मठाई के ना रुचे होत, कबू ते एक मुट्ठी नाज की ना अल्लाही. कबू निज द्वार पर भिखियारियन की भीड़ होत, कबू ते पर द्वार आप जाई बहाई. छड़ियो ना हिम्मत, विसरियो ना हरि नाम, जहो बिद राम रखे, तहो बिद रहाई. And what does this actually mean? There are days when falcons grace one's hands and war drums reverberate throughout our lands. Then there are days when it becomes hard to feed even those who would lay down their lives for our creed. There are days when rich food is so abundant that even the very thought of eating feels redundant. Then there are days when we must toil beyond all gain just for a meager handful of grain. There are days when others beg at one's door for favors undeserved, yet granted once more. Then there are days when we stand in their stead for debts long owed and promises to heed. Never forsake your courage or the Naam we hold dear. Though adversities may rage, remain in calm. Whatever strait Waheguru ordains our fate, embrace it fully, that is to be whole. And so, on that note, we end today's episode. Thank you very much for listening. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Until next time.
सवैया दुत जिते इन्हीं के प्रसाद इन्हीं के प्रसाद सुदान करे अक अवगटार इन्हीं के प्रसाद इन्हीं की कृपा पुण्य धाम भरे इन्हीं के प्रसाद सो विद्यालय इन्हीं की कृपा सब संत मरे नहीं की कृपा के सजे हम हैं नहीं पोसो गरीब करो